Hey everybody, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest in the Diocese of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. I get to serve in the beautiful town of Shelburne, Nova Scotia, in the awesome parish of Church Shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I give thanks to God for you every day. I thank God especially for everything that you teach me and everything that you share with me in your comments and in your emails. Today I want to offer a little bit of a reflection on the importance of clergy. See, I did a video last week where in it I mentioned it was about the veil. You know, the veil at Jesus' crucifixion, his death, the veil was torn in two from top to bottom. And I said that the veil was a symbol. It was that action of it being torn was a symbolic action of now there is no barrier between us and God. And some of you were, cuckoo enough to say, and that's why we don't even need clergy. Shame on you. Yes, you need clergy. I wasn't talking about clergy. Actually, I was talking about clergy. There is no barrier between you and God. There is no barrier between me and God. Even though the church around me and the churches of the world, they look an awful lot like what I suspect the churches of Jesus' time would have looked like. Houses of worship where people gathered to study and to hear the word and to to build their faith. The churches after Jesus' crucifixion and death, after his resurrection, the churches of that time did not look like this. Yes, there were still places where people gathered, but for the most part, those places were people's homes. Right? They got together in the homes. I mean, even in the book of Acts, it talks about how Paul and Peter and John and the rest of those fellows, they still went to the temple. They still went to the synagogues. The houses where people gathered to discuss and to learn about this new way of living, this new way of being, this new way that Jesus ushered forth. But even though those original Christian churches didn't look like they look now, there were always clergy. And now, no, I'm not saying that because I'm trying to defend my position. I'm saying that because there were always clergy. At first, it was the disciples. They took a position of leadership in this new church. And very quickly, they were overwhelmed by the work that was being asked of them. And they created another group called deacons. And those deacons, they had a responsibility, which was to take care of the people. To take care of the people in their communities, to take care of the people in their church. Their responsibility was to take care of those folks. Whether that was with food or with money or with spending time with them pastorally, their job was to take care of the people. While the disciples, who I guess would have taken on the moniker of priest, their focus was on prayer, on study, on teaching, on equipping. But there have always been clergy. There have always been people who have been set apart from the rest of the community to take on various roles, various responsibilities, various duties. And these people were given, the respect of the laity because they were doing something that others either didn't want to or couldn't do. Now, over the years, and I'm sure everybody watching this channel will agree, over the years, everything kind of went sideways. Right? Clergy took on greater authority. Not necessarily responsibility, though clergy have a great deal of responsibility. By no stretch should anybody take this as me condemning the work that most clergy do. Most of them are doing so much work that the burnout rate is astonishing for full-time clergy. But it did at some point go a bit sideways. Right? They became the ones who got the best cut of meat. They became the ones who took the seat of authority, the seats of power. They took the seats of honor. right? They took the prestige in the town. They walked around in their cassocks or their collars or their whatever identifier they had that people would recognize them as the priest, and they received immediate respect and honor. Some of them, I think, deserved it because they were living a life. They were living a life that was reminiscent of Jesus. They were being as good an example as they could have been in their situation. And some didn't. Some did horrible things. Some used their power for selfish reasons. Some used their power to harm others. Some used their power to build up their own empires. Sometimes this power was used to send people off to war. Sometimes it was used to harm the innocents, to abuse the vulnerable, to take advantage of people that needed Jesus, that needed that love. It's time, I think, for clergy to go back to some of those original understandings. There is no reason why I deserve the best cut of meat. There is no reason why I deserve the seat of honor. There's no reason why my voice should be heard above another's. We should go back to being teachers. We should go back to spending our time in prayer. We should go back to spending our time working with our communities. We should go back to spending our time equipping and empowering the people in our lives to be ministers. Before I go, I want to share with you a quote. It's a quote that I picked up on a religious channel. It's from the Quakers. And it goes something like, "We never got rid of the clergy. We got rid of the laity. The clergy's responsibility, in my opinion, is to make sure that nobody in the congregation sees themselves as just a bystander. That everybody in the congregation sees themselves as a minister. As a minister for doing the work that Jesus is asking us all to do in the world." May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, and may you forever know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that as your ministry expands, that the church, as it diminishes from what it currently is, will become what it once was in those early days. Amen.